100-plus years, always has some spice to it. Last year, Chris Beard and the Rebels took it. This year, a different story for the Tigers, in large part because Moussa Cisse is back playing for Memphis. The alley-oop there from P.J. Haggerty had the early lead, and from that moment on, they would not trail. Early 8-0 run puts Memphis up by as many as 13 in the first half. Then the Rebels get it going. 4 threes helped them go on a 22-11 run to end the half, and you cut Memphis's lead to just 2. But an inspired performance from Colby Rogers, who scored a season-high 28 points after shooting just 1 of 9 the last week. A double-double from Cisse, his first of the season, and 33 combined points from Haggerty and Dane Danger led Memphis to a wire-to-wire win, 87-70 over number 16 Ole Miss.
We had a chip on our shoulders for how we played last week. Mississippi State is a damn good team, and to go out there and not fight, they embarrassed us. So we had to go through Christmas and enjoy Christmas with family, but we knew we had to get back to business, and we knew that we couldn't let Ole Miss come in here and do the same thing that Mississippi State had done.
It was very obvious from where I was sitting. They were emotionally attached to the game. We matched that part of the game for segments of the game, but nowhere near the 40 minutes that it would have required today to play better.
Caleb, when you hear Caleb Beard say Memphis was more emotionally attached to the game, what do you take out of that?
I mean, they needed it. Ole Miss were not ready for the smoke. They were not ready for prime time. Memphis clearly are. They've been battle tested. Memphis needed that kind of emotional comeback in this game after Mississippi State. I mean, we both watched it. They got embarrassed by Mississippi State.
Easily.
There's no way that you can come back in the season if you don't avenge that defeat. And that's what they did against another Mississippi team and against their rivals. You know, even though those guys, they didn't grow up seeing Ole Miss as a rival, maybe Penny's instilled that rivalry in them. And so, yeah, I think that Memphis, from the jump, you could pretty much tell after that Moussa Cisse alley-oop from P.J. Haggerty
First play
that it was – they were up for it. Headband Moussa was on Avery. The emotions were high throughout the game. And I think the crowd also played a big part in that. You have almost 16,000 people there. There are a lot of Ole Miss fans there too, but there are a lot of white shirts and the Memphis fans out there. And so I think that really fed into the game. But that's what you want to see from the team. You want to see an emotional performance. You want to see high energy, and that's what they did, and they really made Ole Miss struggle. They made Ole Miss really fight for every single basket, which is something you didn't see in the Arkansas State or the Mississippi State game.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think what you saw from this game, emotional attachment, I think was a great way to put it for Coach Beard. It was clear that with the way that Ole Miss beat Memphis last year in their place. Then you got Moussa Cisse, who comes in, and Moussa talked about being called soft by Mississippi State. He's like, I never want to be called soft again. And there was literally nothing soft about his game against Ole Miss. 13 points, 11 rebounds, just really, really impressive. Also had 3 blocks on the day. And I think listening to him talk, he was saying, I don't want to be called soft again, but I'm also the tone setter. And I think he really did set that tone. Colby Rogers was absolutely phenomenal with his 28 points, 6 of 9 from the 3-point line. And we got masked Colby Rogers again.
Yep.
I think he might be trademarking that celebration here pretty soon. But it was a really great win. And it did feel like Ole Miss didn't really get off the bus the way they were supposed to. They did cut the lead down to 2 points in that first half. So you're talking about a 38-36 ball game at halftime. You're like, okay, the Rebels have kind of weathered that storm. And then you could tell Memphis came back out of the halftime break and they were having none of any kind of embarrassment on their home floor. Again, I think you make a really good point about the crowd because the crowd was juiced for this one. I mean, we've seen some Memphis games this year that have been kind of spotty in terms of crowd, but you look at all three levels of the FedEx Forum on Saturday, and it was a packed house.
Yeah, definitely fun. Something that Penny and the boys will definitely want for conference play coming up. Something else, Moussa played really well. Dane didn't have an incredibly great game, but I think Penny is figuring out that rotation. I've talked about that since day one. You've heard me talk about it on almost every single show. But this will give him a vote of confidence towards Moussa Cisse, and maybe he played more minutes, started this game because of the matchup against Ole Miss, his former team. Even though a lot of those guys are new that he's facing, he still knows a lot of the other guys.
The institution of the thing.
Right, and throughout the game, it was Moussa stepping up. PJ stepped up through parts. Tyrese Hunter didn't even make a basket until the second half. And then Tyrese came up and made 2 huge baskets. There was a really tough layup that he made to put Memphis up by 8 because Ole Miss the final score doesn't really reflect what that whole game was. Ole Miss really hung around throughout. The issue is for Ole Miss, they didn't have other players that stepped up. Matt Morrell couldn't really get it going, and there were a lot of other players on that Ole Miss team that couldn't really help someone like Sean Padula out, right?
Yeah.
Whereas Memphis had every single one of them stepped up, and that's what Penny wants to see moving forward. The ball was moving, which is always great to see from this team. You know, very high pressure, high intensity defense. But on the other end, you want to get that ball moving so you don't let other teams like Ole Miss, who are also very, very high pressure defense. That Chris Beard loves that style of defense, high line, everything. You get that ball moving, it is really difficult for Ole Miss to maintain that style of pressure, that level of pressure. They had 15 assists, close to what Penny wants, which is 20 assists a game, which is crazy that he set that bar for them. But he believes this team can do it, and they have the right pieces to be able to do it. So you look at how they had the ball moving, the assist, and players stepping up. It was a pretty much complete game for the Tigers.
Yeah, Coach Beard talked about Tyrese Hunter. I mean, that's another one of those emotional attachments to the game. So you had the Musa Cisse return. Tyrese Hunter's playing against his old head coach. So all those things kind of played a part. But he talked about Tyrese controlling the game. He didn't have to score. Yeah. And I think you saw that a lot. PJ Haggerty was kind of the same way. He, got to the basket, got to the free throw line in much the same way that he normally does. But he also had, 6 assists and 7 rebounds. Another one of those games where he's kind of stuffing the stat sheet a bunch of different ways on top of his 17 points. I agree. The big three of Memphis kind of did their thing, and then you really didn't get a ton from the big three of Ole Miss. Padula had 13 points. He played well, 4 assists, 2 steals. Matthew Morrell played well defensively, had 4 steals on the day, doing a lot in his one-on-one defending, but again couldn't score. 7 points, 3 of 11 shooting. You got Malik Dia, kind of gave you something, but it was almost too little, too late, kind of towards the end of the game. And then they lost Mikael Jones-Brown. 15, 16 minutes left in the second half, and I think that played kind of a big part in just the inability for them to kind of get back into shouting distance. That's kind of really where that Memphis spurt began after that technical foul. And so this is going to hurt if you're Ole Miss, because you end on a really sour note. It would have been one thing if you lost and, it's a 5-point game or something like that, but now you go into your conference play and it kind of got a bad taste in your mouth going into, I think they played Georgia in their first conference game. You'll get a chance to bounce back there. For the Tigers, though, this was a really good win. Something you really needed. They go 10-3 in non-conference play.